Have you ever thought about what happened to Jesus after his death on the cross and before his resurrection? It's one of Christianity's most debated mysteries, and it's mentioned in the Apostles' Creed with the phrase, "He descended into hell." But what does that really mean? Did Jesus literally go to hell, or is it a metaphor for something else? Today we're diving deep into the Bible, exploring ancient Christian beliefs and seeing how theologians have wrestled with this mystery for centuries. By the end of this video, you'll have a richer understanding of this topic and maybe even some answers. To start, let's look at the Apostles' Creed. This ancient Christian statement of faith, recited in churches around the world, summarizes core Christian beliefs. It states that Jesus was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended into hell. On the third day, he rose again from the dead. This phrase, "He descended into hell," has puzzled believers for centuries. How could Jesus, the Son of God, descend into hell? And why would he? Is it literal, symbolic, or something else entirely? To answer these questions, we need to go back to the original Greek and Latin languages. In the Bible, words like hell don't always mean the fiery place of torment we often imagine. There are multiple terms for hell in biblical text. First, we have Sheol, a term in the Old Testament that refers to a shadowy place where the dead await judgment. It's not necessarily a place of suffering, it's more of a waiting place. Then there's Hades, a Greek term that aligns closely with Sheol. This too refers to a realm of the dead, not exactly a place of torment. Finally, we have Gehenna, which is often translated as hell and refers to a place of judgment and punishment. This is the fiery hell many of us picture. So, when the Apostles' Creed says, "descended into hell," it may actually mean that Jesus went to Hades, the realm of the dead, not a place of fiery torment. But why would he go there? There are several Bible passages that give us clues about Jesus' actions between his death and resurrection. Let's look at three key verses. First is 1 Peter 3:19-20, which says, "In which he also went and made proclamation to the spirits now in prison." Some interpret this to mean that Jesus went to the realm of the dead and proclaimed his victory over sin and death to souls awaiting judgment. It's as if he was making an announcement of triumph. Next, we have Ephesians 4:9, which says, "In saying he ascended," what does it mean but that he had also descended into the lower regions, the earth? This phrase suggests that Jesus may have descended to a lower realm, possibly the underworld, or at least to a place of separation from God. Lastly, Acts 2:27 quotes a passage from the Psalms saying, "For you will not abandon my soul to Hades." Here Peter refers to Psalm 16:10, implying that Jesus' soul was in Hades, but was not left there. These verses together paint a picture of Jesus visiting the realm of the dead, not as a victim, but as a conqueror, proclaiming his victory over sin, death, and evil. Early church leaders also wrestled with the meaning of Jesus' descent, and two main interpretations emerged. The first interpretation is the declaration of victory. According to this view, Jesus descended to the realm of the dead to declare his victory over sin and death, proclaiming that he had triumphed. Some early theologians believed that this was a moment where Jesus was able to announce his triumph to the souls waiting for the Messiah. The second interpretation is known as the harrowing of hell. This concept became especially popular during the medieval period and paints a powerful image, Jesus descending into the realm of the dead, not only declaring victory, but also freeing the righteous souls who had awaited his coming. This would include figures like Adam, Eve, and other Old Testament saints, people who had longed for salvation but had died before the Messiah's arrival. Both interpretations view Jesus' descent as a part of his mission of salvation, but they differ in what they see as the purpose. Was he simply proclaiming victory, or was he also actively rescuing souls Even today, theologians still disagree on the meaning of Jesus' descent into hell. On one side, there are those who hold to a literal descent. They believe that Jesus physically descended to the place of the dead, Hades or Sheol, asserting his authority over every realm, even the realm of death itself. This interpretation sees Jesus' descent as a literal journey to conquer every power opposed to God. On the other side, there are those who view it as a metaphorical descent. In this interpretation, Jesus' descent symbolizes the full extent of his suffering. It represents his complete experience of human separation from God, especially as he bore humanity's sins on the cross. In this view, Jesus' descent to hell is less about a physical journey and more about the depth of his sacrifice for humanity. This mystery about Jesus' descent has real meaning for believers. It shows the depth of Jesus' sacrifice and his willingness to go to the darkest places for humanity. By descending into the depths, whether you believe that's literal or symbolic, Jesus conquered death entirely, meaning there is no place, no depth of sin or separation that is beyond his reach. This act signifies that no realm, no power, and no force stands outside of God's dominion. Jesus' descent and resurrection together form the ultimate victory over every enemy of humanity. Let's tackle some of the most common questions people have about this topic. One question is, why is this concept so important? The idea of Jesus descending to the dead reinforces the totality of his victory over sin and death. It shows us that nothing is beyond the reach of his love. Another common question is, does this mean everyone is saved? While Jesus' victory is indeed complete, traditional Christian teaching holds that individuals must still personally accept the salvation he offers. Finally, people ask, what happens to believers today when they die? Most Christians believe that because of Jesus' sacrifice, believers go directly to be with God, as Jesus has already paved the way to eternal life. Whether you see Jesus' descent as literal or symbolic, it reminds us of the incredible lengths God went to in order to save humanity. This mystery may not be fully understood, but it shows us that Jesus' victory was absolute. He overcame every barrier, every sin, and even death itself. It's a story of hope, power, and ultimate victory, showing that no depth is beyond his reach. So what do you think? Did Jesus really descend to hell, or is it a symbol of his ultimate sacrifice? Leave your thoughts below, and if you're intrigued by more faith mysteries, be sure to subscribe for more content like this.